there. Hello. My name is Isabel, and I'm so excited to be here today. I've been reading all my stories lately, and I'm so excited to share some with you. You see, spending all this time indoors, I go to my big library and pick out all kinds of books to read. And one of my favorites is Princess Rapunzel's book. As you see, she goes on all kinds of journeys far away, and she does a lot of stuff around the house too. Every day, lots of activities, and she has a wonderful time doing it. Now, I'm going to show you some of my favorite books, and then we can tell a story together. Oh, and I thought I would have some tea with all of you. So, while we wait for everybody to get on here so that we can join in the story together, if you want to grab some water or tea or something, or hot chocolate, then go right ahead. And I'm going to show you some of my favorite things to do. Now you see, one thing that you can do in these times while the weather is so lovely outside is go on a nature walk. So I get my handy dandy book with all kinds of birds, and I'll go outside and I'll look for birds. You can also do the same for other critters like squirrels or raccoons or other animals to see if you're looking at the right one. That's a very fun way to do a nature walk. And I wanted to remind everybody too that while we're here telling a story together, if you would like to comment down in the comments below, then I can see all of your beautiful names and say hello to anybody out there. Oh, hello, Arthur from California. Thank you for joining us today. If you would like to comment down below, I'd be happy to say hello to everybody here. Now, as I said, there are lots of books in my library that I love to read. Excuse me. And one of them is a recent classic, Little Women. If your reading skills are up to date and you would like to read this book, I think it's fantastic. Hello, Mia and Jade. Lovely to have you here. We're talking about all of our favorite books. Hello, Sadie. Yes, everybody, comment down below, right below this post, and I can say hello. Oh, from Kenzie and Royce. Hello, Kenzie and Royce. Oh, hello, Morgan. And I know that Addison is joining us in Portland as well. Hello, Addison. Tegan and Kingston, hello. It is so wonderful to have everybody here. Telling stories is one of my favorite ways to bring everybody together, especially in times where you might want to bring everybody together in this kind of way. And I think it's just wonderful that we can have everybody here. So, another one of my favorite things to read about, of course, is the world around us. So, I've collected many books about the world. This one is about Ireland, and I would just love to go there one day. These kind of books can show you all of the beautiful pictures around Ireland, and you can plan where you'd like to go. One of my other favorite things to read about is animals. As I said, you can go on some nature walks outside. Oops. But you can also learn about the wonderful world around you from indoors if you don't want to go on a nature walk. Who does he remind you of? Anybody? It is just wonderful to learn about the world around you, especially animals, because they are so unique in their own way. And so, we're going to start our story now. And our story begins in a far, far away kingdom. But does anybody know how we begin every fairy tale story? We always use 4 magical words to start. And well, we always begin with once upon a time. And if everybody can say it to themselves, can do once upon a time. And we start this story once upon a time in a faraway kingdom, high up in the woods, where there was a handsome prince that lived in a castle, and he ruled upon his entire kingdom. But you see, although the prince was very wealthy and had lots of friends and would throw these extravagant parties, he wasn't very kind to those around him. And he didn't have a lot of love in his heart. And one day, Well, the beast was throwing one of these, excuse me, the prince was throwing one of these great big parties. He received a knock on the door, and when he went to answer it, it was this old woman, and she was asking for shelter in exchange for a red rose. You see, it was very cold and very stormy outside, and she needed a place to seek shelter. But the prince laughed in her face and shut the door and told her that she must go, for he would never give her shelter. She knocked on the door again, and this time when he answered, she exposed herself as a fairy. And she was a very kind fairy, and she realized that he had no love in his heart. And because you should spread kindness and love and joy and compassion to others, she wanted to teach him a lesson. So she bestowed a curse upon the whole castle and everybody inside, including the prince. So now the prince would remain a beast until his 21st birthday if he was able to find love. But if he wasn't able to find love, then he would remain a beast for all eternity. For who could ever learn to love a beast? Pretty scary. But he would be this big beast with these big fangs and claws and look very scary. He wouldn't look like himself at all. And she bestowed a curse upon the entire village so everybody would forget about him. And well, it was a very troubling time for everybody in the kingdom. All the people that were at the party turned into inanimate objects, like candlesticks and clocks and armoires, and our dog turned into a footstool, and all kinds of silly things. And they all remained hopeful that one day things would change. But the beast, well, he didn't remain very hopeful. He got colder and colder and colder, and he wouldn't let anybody in. He was very unkind to everybody around him. And that's where I come in. Not too long later, my father and I moved into the village nearby, and everybody there thought I was kind of strange. Because I love to read books, I cleaned out our library all the time. I have my books up here that I read. And they all thought that I was very strange because I was different from them. But just because you like to do different things from other people, does that make you strange? I didn't think so, and my father certainly didn't think so. It just meant that I like different things, and that's okay. We're all unique in our own way. We all have different hobbies and different talents and things that we love to do, and that's all I was trying to do. And well, it was very difficult living there. I felt very isolated because I didn't have a lot of friends. Like how I imagine a lot of you are feeling a bit isolated right now if you can't play with your friends. And that must be very, very difficult. And it was very difficult for me too, which is why I fell into my books. Books have the power and stories have the power to take you to faraway places and let you learn about things all around you, which is why I advocate for books and stories and characters so much. I even have a notebook if I can't find a book, and I'll write down all of my thoughts and all of my characters. And it's a very nice pastime. And well, there was also someone in the village who took a liking to me, unlike everybody else, but it wasn't for the right reasons. You see, he wanted to marry me simply because I was different from everybody else and I didn't want to marry him. I'm sure you all know what his name is, huh? We'll not bring it up. Well, you see, my father was an inventor, and everyone thought that he was very strange as well because he liked to build things, and that wasn't the way of everybody else in the village. And he would take all of his inventions and he would go to faraway places and try to sell them. But one day when he left, just before dawn, our horse came running back to the village and surprised me at home. And I thought, this has never happened before. Something terrible must be going on. Oh, where is my father? I must go find him. So I got on our horse and I told him to go find our father. And he took me far into the woods, as far as I had ever gone, and we came upon this enchanted castle. It was huge, it was gigantic, like something I had read in one of my fairy tale stories. And when I walked up to the front door and I knocked to go inside, nobody was there. It was very dark and dusty, like nobody had lived there for, well, centuries. It was all dark and cold, and as I walked through the castle, I shouted for my father, thinking that maybe he took refuge in there. But I didn't hear anything. And then I saw a flicker of light go up the staircase. Would any of you go to follow that light? I certainly did. So I went up the staircase, high, 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 up into the tallest tower of the castle. And when I went up there, I found my father. He was behind bars and he was sick and cold. And I asked him who had done this to him. And just then, this gigantic, scary beast came up behind me and shouted, "What are you doing here?" And I got so scared, but I stood up to him and I said, "How have you put my father behind bars? You must let him out. Can't you see he's sick?" And he told me that he was a trespasser and that he must remain in that castle for the rest of his life. And I was so sad for my father. I didn't think he would be okay in this castle, but I knew that if I took his place, I could find my way out. I could get out somehow, some way. So I took his place. My father went home safely, and I was now living in this castle with the beast. It was very, very sad. And I didn't know what to do. I knew there had to be some way out eventually. And the beast was very mean and very cold, but just because someone is mean to you, does that mean that you should be mean to them? No. It just often means that they don't have a lot of love in their heart. Maybe they haven't experienced love like you and I have. Maybe he doesn't have a father or mother like I do. And maybe I should show him more love and kindness and compassion. I mean, after all, he did let my father go. Maybe there's a little bit of love in that cold, cold heart of his. And I realized that everything around me was actually alive. And this spell that was cast upon the castle involved a lot of different people. And all those people were now objects, like teacups and pots. And they were all so kind to me. And they told me that the beast isn't that bad. And well, I just have to dig deep and find it. And that is the deal with a lot of people that are mean on the outside. A lot of times they're very nice on the inside. You just have to find it. So, and I thought that since everybody here is so kind, he can't be all that bad. So he told me that there was one place in the castle that I must never ever go. That place was called the West Wing. And I had to be very careful to never go there because it was forbidden. Well, I went to the castle. I had to. I went to the West Wing because I knew that there must be something there that I could find about this beast. Something there that could tell me about him, that could make me connect with him maybe. And well, so I went. I went into the West Wing, and it was all forbidden as well. It was so cold and dusty and scary in there. And I saw this big painting of this handsome prince with slash marks through it. And then, over in the corner, there was a red rose suspended in glass, and it was shining and shimmering, and the petals had been falling off of it. And just as I approached it, another petal fell. So I took off the glass, and I went to go and touch the rose, and just before I did, do you know who came up behind me? It was the beast, and he was so angry at me for being in the West Wing. He was furious, shouting at me to leave now. So I got all my stuff, my cloak, and I ran outside. I couldn't take any more of this. I had tried to be kind to him. I had done everything I could, but he just wasn't giving me any kindness. So I left, and I went out into the woods, and there were all of these hungry wolves out there. And it was snowing, and it was hard for me to run, and I couldn't fight them off the best I could. And so then I was at a loss. And you know who came to my rescue? It was the beast. He came outside, and he knew that I would have encountered wolves. So he fought every single last one off. And in the process, he got very, very injured. And I realized that I had a choice to make. I could have left him in the woods and I could have gone home because now the wolves were gone and I would be safe because he had never shown me kindness, so why should I show him any kindness? Or I could help him by taking him back to the castle and nursing his wounds and getting him back to health. But I didn't want to leave him there. I wanted to help him because when somebody is hurting and you can help them and you won't endanger yourself while doing it, then you should try and help them and do what you can. So that's all I tried to do. And well, I got him back on the horse and I took him into the castle. I dressed his wounds and put him by the fire, and he realized that I meant no harm and that I only wanted to help him. And so he let down his guard and he showed me who he was. And in fact, he was a very kind person, but he had just encountered so many hurtful things in his life and people that only wanted to be friends with him for the wrong reasons. And he didn't have a family that showed love and compassion like mine did. And so I showed him all the love and compassion I could. And I was nice to him. And he took me into the library and showed me all these wonderful books. And I was so happy. We became the best of friends. And one day we got all dressed up in our finest attire and we went into the ballroom and we listened to music and we danced the night away. It was just a night for fairy tales. He was perfect. And then I told him what was weighing on my heart, and that was my father. I told him that I missed my father so, so much and that I was worrying about him. And then he showed me something very important. He showed me a magical mirror that you could talk to and ask to see anybody you'd like. So I took the mirror and I said, I'd like to see my father, please. And the mirror showed me a very, very sick, sick father who was in the forest looking for me tirelessly, and I had to get to him. So the beast let me go. He showed me the ultimate act of kindness, and he let me go to find my father. So I went off into the woods, I got my father and brought him back home. And just then, all the people in the village were trying to take my father away from me. That man who I told you about got everybody together and told him that my father was crazy, that he came back one night raving about some beast in a castle that was going to hurt everybody and going to bring pain to everybody. And I told him, no, 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 the beast is very kind. He would never do that to anybody. He would never hurt anybody. You see, he knows kindness and he knows compassion. And he caught on that I was friends with the beast. But not only friends with the beast, that I could possibly be in love with the beast. So he got very angry and told everybody in the village to grab their pitchforks and go out to the castle. So they did. They followed him because they were so scared. They followed fear. And they gave in to that fear to go and do something that they didn't even know about. And well, I couldn't let them do it. But I was a lot slower behind them because, well, they locked me in my basement with my father. But once I got out, I went to the castle. And when I got there, I looked up onto the roof and they were fighting. And the beast was losing. He was going to fall off the roof of the castle. He was very injured. But what I noticed was he wasn't fighting back. He was letting the villagers hurt him without fighting them when he could easily have taken them very, very quickly. But he didn't, because he didn't want to fight. So I shouted to him that I was there, and he saw me, and he started fighting back with just a little bit of push. Everybody left, and all the villagers went back home. And so I went up to the roof, and he was very, very sick, and he was slipping away. And I told him that I was so, so sorry, that all of this was my fault. I should have never left. I should have stopped them. I should have found a way. And he stopped me. He told me that it was okay, that he did the best he could. And I told him that I loved him, and I'm so sorry. And do you know what? That night was his 21st birthday. That stroke of midnight, right after I said that I loved him, was his 21st birthday. And because he had learned to show love and receive love by his 21st birthday, all the curse lifted. Everything began to get a little bit lighter, and well, everything got a little shinier. All the teacups and the chairs and the candlesticks, everything turned back into normal. And the castle was all cleaned up at once, and it looked brand new. And the beast turned back into a prince. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. He now knows love and kindness and compassion, and we now throw balls for everybody in the village, and everybody accepts me as I am. I love living with the beast, and now we are married, and we have the most fantastic life, and we travel together, and we all lived happily ever after. We all learned to have courage and kindness and spread compassion and joy. And so that is how we live our life today. Thank you for telling that story with me. It taught me so many lessons about compassion and how we should treat others with kindness, even when times are a bit tricky and times are a bit scary. We should bring people together and show them love and show them kindness, even if they're not showing it to you. Maybe you should just show them a little bit more love, because maybe one day you'll get some of it in return. And well, my friend Rapunzel learned something about that too. In her story, she encountered a lot of ruffians and thugs and poison ivy and quicksands and cannibals and snakes, and she pulled through. And she could just as well be here in a couple of days to tell some of her stories with you. All of my princess friends, including myself, would love to share more stories with you and tell all of the tales and the things that we have learned. And so I'm going to take this moment. If you would like to say something in the comments, if you'd like me to answer any questions for you or give you any ideas on things that you would like to do at home while you're in this time, or things you can do outside, which is where all of my family is right now. They're playing a game of hopscotch and jump rope, and they're drawing with chalk outside. I came in to take a break and do some reading and have some of my tea. But if you would like to say anything in the comments down below, I would be more than happy to say hello or to answer any questions for you. Victoria and Alexander, hello, it's wonderful to have you. Hello, Mia. Oh, hello, Brittany. It is, oh, Kenzie and Royce. Royce, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you for joining us today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Prince Royce. Happy birthday to you. I love celebrating birthdays. Hello, Princess Lillian. It is wonderful to see you today, too. The Snow Queen told me all about you and how she had a fantastic time with you the other day. And hello, Peyton. It's wonderful to see you. Arwen from Portland, thank you for joining us. Savannah and Scarlett, it is so wonderful to have you here, too. Torrance and McAdam, hello, thank you for joining us. Elona, I'm very excited to have you here too. And Ashir Khan, hello, wonderful to have you here. And Phoebe, Princess Phoebe, it's wonderful to see you too. And Savannah and Charlotte, oh, thank you for joining us, girls. I hope you enjoyed the story time. And Sophia, hello. Oh, thank you, dear. You're so kind. Hello, Kinley. Hello, Nani. It is so wonderful to see you too. Hello, Melissa. Oh my goodness. I love all the princesses that are tuning in and watching. I hope we can do this as often as we can. Elona. Oh, I'm so happy that you love this story. And hello, Isabella. We have a very similar name. And let me see. Sophia says hello. Thank you, Sophia. Lillian. Oh my goodness. Melissa, Adeline, hello. Hello, Isabella. Nora and Peyton in Portland. So wonderful to be talking to you all the way from my kingdom. Xenia, Zia, and Zoe. I love those names. You sound like characters from a fairy tale story. And Princess Addison. Adeline. Oh my goodness. It is so wonderful to have everybody here. And if you would like to ask any questions as well, I'd be more than happy to answer. Anything about my kingdom, too. Maybe things you could do in this time where a lot of us have to stay indoors and a lot of us can't be around other people. And that must be so, so challenging. But it could also be a very fun time to connect with your family and the ones you love, maybe over different platforms. And hopefully we can do this as often as possible. And my other princess friends can join us too. Chloe, hello, Chloe. Zoe from California, hello. Oh, it's coming from so far away. Oh, Peyton has a crush. Oh, that is so funny. Sophia wants to know where the beast is. The beast is outside. They're playing croquet and they're drawing with chalk. It is such a wonderful day out in our kingdom. So everybody is outside in the sunshine, getting some of that vitamin D and enjoying their day. I just took a break to come inside and read. Oh, hello, Emery. Hello, Faith. Have I talked to any of my princess friends lately, and what are they doing for fun? That is a very good question. My friend Rapunzel, she does so many things every day. She grew up in a tower where she was playing puzzles and darts, and she was baking, paper mache, a bit of ballet and chess, puzzles and ventriloquy, candle making. She stretches and she sketches, takes climbs, and sews dresses. She does all kinds of things to keep herself busy. We must not get lazy in times like these. We must find something to do and something to stay active as well. And I know my friend, the Polynesian princess, she's sailing the sea, also being outside. The Snow Princess and Snow Queen, they're probably ice skating. Even though it's very wonderfully summertime in their kingdom right now, they love to still ice skate and build snowmen. And of course, they play charades, which is a very fun family game, if any of you have played before. Hi, Vera and Ariella. Hi, Emery. Thank you for your beautiful compliment. Shiri, hello. And how it was to meet the beast. Oh, that is a very good question. Meeting the beast was very scary because in the beginning, he didn't know who I was, and so he didn't show me a lot of kindness. So he was very mean and very harsh to me, and that didn't really get us off on the wrong foot. But over time, he began to get a lot nicer. And then he realized that he could be kind to me too. And now we are the best of friends. What is your favorite thing to do besides read? Oh, that's a very good question too. I really love to cook and bake. I go into our big kitchen all the time and I bake cookies, I bake dinners. I love to bake cookies and things for my family. Love to make vegetables, of course, breads. You can get so creative in the kitchen. You can use really anything in your kitchen. That's my favorite thing to do, is to go up to your pantry and just look at what you have and say, you know what? I think I'm going to make this brand new salad that I've never thought of making before, and add all these different ingredients, and it'll taste different every time. And that is very satisfying. Oh, thank you, Lillian. You are so sweet and so beautiful yourself. Sophia wants to know when we are done, she's going to ride her bike. Well, Sophia, if you want to go and ride your bike, you can go ahead, okay? We're just going to answer some questions, and maybe I'll share some other things we could do, but we're just talking for now. So we're done telling the story if you'd like to go and ride your bike. That sounds like so much fun. And for everybody else who wants to know, we'll wrap up in just a minute, okay? I just wanted everybody to kind of get their questions answered, and then I'll sign off and wish you all the best day. Amazing story. Melissa, oh, thank you so much. That is so kind of you. how long it takes to make your hair so beautiful. How many times do you brush it? Oh my goodness, I brush my hair so many times. If you want to see, I have a lot of hair, huh? But it takes a lot of practice. You must brush your hair every day. But thank you for the compliment. You love to bake too, Sophia. Baking is so much fun, isn't it? You can get so creative with your frosting and your decorations for your cakes and cookies and cupcakes. It can be so much fun. And everybody around you can enjoy what you bake too. What is your favorite food to eat? Oh my goodness. Well, being that I'm not sure. That's a very good question. Of course, I love a good spaghetti and pasta. I love soup and salad. And going to France, I love my croissants and my pastries and my tea. That's my favorite thing in the morning to do is get a cup of tea and a croissant and some fruit and sit down and have a nice breakfast. Baking is so much fun. And well, I also wanted to show all of you our last thing before I'll say goodbye is another fun family game we could all play together is puzzles. We have lots of puzzles here in our castle, and we can bring everybody together and you can revisit it as much as you can, and it always keeps it interesting. And one thing that I do with my princess friends is we all trade puzzles to each other. We'll send each other a puzzle, we'll finish it, and then when you're done, you send it off to your other family member, and then they'll do it, and then they'll send it off to another family member. So it's a very fun interactive game. And there's some more questions I'll answer. Want to tell you, oh, thank you very much. And I would love to see your dress as well. Send it on in to Amazing Fairy Tale Parties. Send a picture, we would love to see. Banana bread is delicious, isn't it? I love to put some nuts on top of it or chocolate chips or cinnamon. My goodness, it is so delicious. My favorite ice cream flavor, I would have to say I love caramel. Caramel and sea salt is very good, but all kinds of ice cream are delicious. It's hard to pick a favorite. And hot chocolate for you. Oh yes, Mrs. Teapot does make nice, delicious hot chocolate, and she will pour it out of her spout too for us, especially if we have children over who love hot chocolate. We'll have nice parties and tea and hot chocolate together. Well, everybody, I wanted to thank you so much for having us today. I hope everybody is staying safe out there and spreading kindness and compassion to all of those around you. Think about all the fun things you could do. Remember about taking a nature walk outside. Maybe look for some birds. It's one of my favorite things to do. Get a notebook and write down your ideas and make a planner. And if you're stuck on things that you maybe don't know if you should do one day, I always love to get a planner, write down all the things I could do so that when I'm feeling a little bored, I can come over and pick one out. Because sometimes you forget about things you could possibly do. So write them down in a little notebook. And thank you, everybody. Sadie says thank you. Caramel ice cream is delicious. Thank you all for writing in the comments. Please subscribe to Amazing Fairy Tale Parties on Facebook and Instagram. We'll be doing these as often as we can, and all of my princess friends will join us eventually. So please subscribe